Hello everyone, this is Lord PeteyTV, also known as Pete, here to tell you all a little bit about this dungeon called Halls of Infusion. Now, there's going to be 4 bosses in it, and it's a pretty long dungeon, unless you have some
Let's see
pretty
here.
solid DPS to push you through, with a really unique type of scenario at the end.
Where's our tank?
So make sure you hit that subscribe button here and check us out on Twitch every single Monday through Friday from 3 to 11. Thank you very much, and that's Lord PeteyTV.
Oh, they brought us
Now
along for me to
on to the
lust.
first boss.
That's clear. I can see that. And I'm okay with that. Dragon is dead.
Now, the first boss you're going to be encountering is called Watcher Idris. Now, he has a handful of different abilities, and he has 2 stages. The first stage, which is called A Chance of Redemption, is the Watcher proceeds to attack you in melee fight the tanks. Be careful of his Titanic Fist, which he can end up really knocking on the tank and knocking him down. Hitting everybody to the floor and inflicting moderate damage. He also produces an arcane arc that comes out of him and
he was laughing.
And it hits all the players for very low damage every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. So be careful of that. He also places a ability called a Spark Volley, a dot on a player every couple of seconds, which needs to make sure it's dispelled. Now, during this is all going on, he also has a power field, which electrifies players within it, so make sure you're not standing on that. And he also infuses 3 enemies that are going to be these orbs that are going to be flying around the room, so be very careful of those. Now, eventually he's going to turn into this ginormous immune state, which is going to be phase 2, which is called Watcher's Last Stand. During that, he ends up having this shield barrier on himself. Now, the way that you end up taking that off is to take the nullifying devices, those orbs, bringing them close to the boss, DPSing them down large enough to make sure that they can explode. When that happens, you have to be really careful, because they're going to put this lightning on the ground. So be very careful of that, and make sure that you're aware that there's going to be sparks flying around for damage taken to the players. And he also is going to siphon power from the facility, which causes damage over time. So the faster you end up doing it, the better you are going to be able to go through this boss. Now, the next boss you're going to be encountering is called Gulpin Goliath. Now, he is a frog that is going to be jumping around, and he is a real interesting individual to handle. Now, he's going to be jumping around, and he's going to be, inflicting damage on all the players. He has this ability called Gulp, and the Goliath attempts to gulp down players and creatures within 10 yards of him for 10 seconds, inflicting small amounts of damage every 2 seconds for its full duration. While you're, eaten, you're also going to take stacks of this toxin, and the toxin is going to take damage over time. Once you hit 10 stacks, you're going to instantly die, so be careful of that. Now, if someone does not get eaten, he is going to end up getting enraged. So you have to really be careful of that. He also has an ability called Overpowered Croak, which he ends up inflicting small amounts of damage to all the players, but this is going to cause rock debris from falling, and it's also going to be causing little guys to appear in the room. Now, you have to make sure you end up killing those guys really quickly, or they're going to end up putting that toxin on you also. And remember, 10
so
stacks.
You can use binding shots, a whole lot of those guys in place,
also has that jumping ability like I was talking about earlier, which does, medium to high amounts of damage, inflicting on players that get landed on that. And once again,
Another
he
freaking
ends up
helm.
having a toxic AoE, which he ends up hitting all players
Are
for.
you
So be aware
joking?
of those. Now, the next boss you're going to be encountering is Kajin the Unyielding. Now, he is a very unique boss because what you're going to be encountering is you're going to be encountering him, attacking a tank, and every so often he is ending up going to do this AoE attack to hit everybody with a blast of ice. Now, the easier attack that he has is something called Glacial Surge, which produces rings that come off of him little by little, and if you're struck by a ring, you take damage. The surge also leaves ice boulders behind, and that's what you end up using to get away from his next big ability, which is Hailstorm. Hailstorm is an LOS attack, a line of sight attack, which he ends up doing. And if you are, if you can see the boss and you get hit by it, you're going to take a large amount of damage, and you're more than likely going to get one shot. So make sure you go behind the ice boulders. Now, what you got to be careful of is that when the ice boulders explode, if they're damaged, they're going to inflict large amounts of damage to people that are standing around them. So make sure you are not around the ice boulders. You have to be about 12 yards apart. Now, he also has a Frost Cyclone, which is going to hurt very much. Barrels are going to, I should say it's sent forward, and it's going to inflict damage onto individuals and pushing them back. The Cyclone is going to deal additional damage by the more boulders you come in contact with, so be very aware of that. He also has something called Polar Winds, which is an AoE damage for 3 seconds until she's defeated, which is not too bad to deal with. And she also has a Frost Shock. Now, it's called Frost Shock. What essentially it is an attack that's going to hit somebody, and it's going to reduce their movement speed.
Okay. This week, what we'll be doing this weekend,
now, this part here is something that I wanted to just talk to you all about. It's what I like to call the gauntlet of this fight, or the more of the nuisance of this whole entire dungeon. What you're going to end up having to do is you're going to end up having to move slowly down this gauntlet of waves while killing mobs. So we figured out that you can actually LOS them on those center cauldrons. So if you end up putting your back to those center cauldrons, you can end up staying away from them, and you can end up not taking damage or very little damage if you do. So it's actually ideal for you to kind of move in between those. But be very aware that this is a situational fight where you can have a lot of problems. You can not get knocked off the side, get sent to the front. You can also get hit by multiple of those waves and take a large amount of damage from them. So just be very, very careful and be very, very aware of what is happening around you on this in this little area.
And then once you get to 68.5, you end up what is it called? You end up doing the last level and a half via the craft skills. I'm working on the pally right now, so I didn't know.
And the last boss we're going to talk about is Primal Tsunami. Now, Primal Tsunami has two different phases.
Don't fall off
One
the
is going to be
edge.
his Violent Swells ability, which we're going to talk about first. Now, he's going to unleash these globules of water, inflicting damage to players within 2 yards of the impact of these balls, so be careful and don't hit those. They also drift about, applying something called waterlog to those people. After 11 seconds of these after 11 seconds, they will actually explode, and
Oh
you know,
my god.
doing damage to people all
Oh
around
my
them.
god.
Waterlogged is pretty much giving you large amounts of frost damage, slowing you, so you really don't want to get hit with that. Now, he also has this thing called Rogue Waves, which is going to cause, several waves to come forth off of the boss, and it's going to inflict medium damage and pushing the players back as they're trying to get close. He also has a Tempest Fury, which is an ability where he does AoE damage to everyone, inflicting a large amount of damage.
Sean,
Now he's got a tank attack, which is called Squall Buffet, which causes a burst of wind towards the target and pushing them back. Now, be very, very careful of that, and you're going to have to make sure you get back very quickly. Now, when this ends up happening, there's going to be a thing called Focus Deluge, or whatever you want to call it, which is going to inflict damage to those targets, so be very aware of that. He also has something called Undertow, where he is unable to attack enemies in melee, and is going to inflict damage to everybody. So make sure your tank stays close to them. Now, the ability that is the more annoying one is going to be, the stage 2, which is Infused Water. Now, he's going to end up casting this ability called Castaway, where he takes all players, puts them in a bubble, throws them to the end of the gauntlet. Now, during that time, you're going to have to fight your way back, either killing primal infusers or dodging crashing tsunamis, or even just the infused globules that are in the way. So be aware that you're going to have to fight through those and get back to the boss as soon as possible, because you end up having to, DPS the what's it called, the infusers that are around the boss. Once you kill those infusers, it'll allow you to have the ability to DPS the boss and kill him. So just keep an eye on that.